Right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Before we start, there is, in the last 24 hours, some updates to Classic. It's 13.5 and Lightroom, I think it's 7.5, I think, but I'll stand corrected, but it's August 2024. I didn't know it was coming, and which is why I'm back home for a couple of days, and then tomorrow I'm off again. So I knew it was coming, and there was a few questions last week about syncing. So putting those questions and knowing that this update 13.5 was coming out, I thought it would be the appropriate time to address syncing again. So what's in the update for Classic? Lots of bug fixes. You can now see HDR images as a preview in the library module, where you could only, till Monday, you could only see in the developer module and when you hit the HDR button in the basic panel. What else is there? Just trying to think what I'm thinking. So they've done syncing issues, they've done bug fixes, lens updates, camera updates. You can now select, I think it's via right click, editing Photoshop beta version, where before 13.5, when you went to open in Photoshop, if you had beta Photoshop open, for those people that use the beta version to see what's coming, it would have opened it in the beta version. If you didn't have anything open, or didn't have Photoshop open at all, it would open it in your default normal version, shall we say, or if you set your default as opening in the beta version, it would have opened it in that. But now you get a choice, where do you want to open it in normal Photoshop version 25, or do you want to open it up in Photoshop beta? It gives you that choice. So that's a new functionality. So it's those basic three things. Syncing, they've brought back for legacy people here, in the preferences you got those, it was like a timeline, remember, you got all the queuing of all the actions. This is being uploaded, this is being downloaded, and you got the lines of and it might have said error or upload or download. Well, in 13 they took that away, and there was a big uproar about it. Well, it's now back with a new functionality. I'll try and demonstrate that tonight for you. So 13.5 syncing, they've changed a few things, they've sorted out the bugs, cross fingers. HDR is now in the library module, and you can open up, or you get the option of opening up your image in Photoshop beta version if you have the beta in there. Lots of bug fixes, new camera support, new lens support. That's what's in 13.5. Basically in Lightroom at the moment, I believe it's just basically bug fixes and camera and lens updates. So there's three updates if you're just on the photography plan. So it's Lightroom, Lightroom Classic, and Camera Raw updates. And the Camera Raw will also affect Photoshop. So what we're going to look at tonight, it's going to be a Q&A type thing, and I'm going to show you my workflow for syncing, but we'll also look at I've taken some photos on this, and let's say you've gone away, you've taken some pictures, you've gone to Stourhead, which is a national park for those not in the UK, and you want to put them onto a tablet, or you want to put them onto your phone, and edit them and put them into Instagram or something like that. You do not need a computer to do any of that. You can quite easily, with a camera, link it to a phone, either wirelessly or by cable, or you can link it to a tablet, and you can import them. And once they're imported onto your tablet, you can delete them or format your card and continue shooting, because they will go to the cloud, or they can stay on the local device if you wish, and you can sync them and bring them into Classic later. So it's a way of managing. So you're going on your cruise, you're running out of disk space, but you've got a terabyte in the cloud with Adobe, or perhaps you've got an external drive that you can connect to a tablet or something. You can just move them off the chip and continue shooting on your camera. So we'll look at that. So let's quickly share. Jump in, shout if there's something you got a problem with, or you need me to explain a bit further. So, Classic. Firstly, you have to have a location where you're going to put your cloud images within Classic. So that's the first thing you want to do. And I've got this folder that I've called Cloud. And how you do that is you come to the Cloud top left hand corner, or you can come into Lightroom and go Preferences, and you come to the Lightroom Sync tab, and you choose the second box down, it says Location, and you choose or create where you want that folder to be. Simple as that. So you go and find the location. So in my case, I think it's somewhere in here, somewhere like that. So I'll go there, I'll get to there, training, cloud, there it is there. And there's the folders that are already in there. Okay, so you would choose that. Now, I've got a saying, apart from 10 minutes every day, keep it simple. So my filing structure is exactly the same in the cloud than it is in a local drive. So this is the date that it was taken. So it's in the UK we go year, month, day. America will be slightly different, so it'll be year, day, month. But you choose if you want to file them in date of capture. It will put them automatically into this date structure. So as you can see, there are some images that were taken on a particular date, this is my local drive. This is exactly the same year. And then what I do is when I want to remove them from the cloud, I just drag that folder to the appropriate space, and now that's being copied from the cloud and put in my final resting place, because this part of my drive is my local storage. Okay, so I've dragged it. I haven't yet deleted it. It's like importing from your chip and your camera. You copy them across. I've copied them from the cloud and I've put them local. This is my local tab. Okay, but if I go to yes, Jay,
when did you create these folders? Like,
it does it on import automatically.
But you called it cloud. Did you rename it after it imported?
Yeah. So when I created this one here called Cloud, okay. So
you created that folder within Lightroom Classic.
Yeah. So I went to here, choose, and then I went to where do I want to put them? So I want to put them on this image drive. I want to put them here. I want to put them here. Here is it? Oh, it's in there. There, and then I went new folder, typed in the name, pressed choose, and it will create the folder and put it up here. Okay? All right. So that's where it's good. There, and at that point, it will then, if you're doing that for the first, you're doing it for the second time, as in, oh, I'm changing what I've done. It'll ask you, do you want to move all those to the date format? Okay,
right.
So it'll give you a little pop-up to say, well, they're not in this date structure, so So let me show you. I won't do it, but I'll show you. This date structure here, this third box here, if it was unticked, it would just put all my images in the cloud, this cloud folder. But because I put them then, it says now use subfolders into format of date captured. Well, that's the format. So it now creates, and I'll show you in a second when it does it. Okay, because we're going to import some images. Okay, and it's the same process as importing from an SD card. When you hit the import button, right, you got here on the right hand side destination, date format, organized by date. So organized by date, so put them in this location in a date folder. And it creates the date folder of data capture. It takes it from the IPTC data, and that's exactly the same process. So you're doing exactly the same workflow, except you're not taking it from an SD card. It's coming from the cloud. Now, to show you this cloud here, it's got two images. If I go to Lightroom, I've got two images, one here and one here. Okay, this one's blacked out because it's a rejected image, I think this one is. Okay, so there's my two images. If I go to a web browser, this is it on a web browser. Okay, this is the advantage of doing in the cloud. I can edit these images, I can manage these images, I can do all this. This is on a web browser. I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with internet access on a cruise going to the Caribbean from Southampton. I've got all my images that are in the cloud on a web browser. I'm in a hotel in India. I haven't taken my laptop with me, I've just got my iPad. Right? I'm using their Wi-Fi. I've got all my images here. Or I haven't even taken any devices with me. I just go to lightroom.adobe.com. There is all my images. This is literally a user interface that is local on my device, whether that is a phone, whether that is a tablet, whether that is your computer, which is what I'm on at the moment. This is exactly the same data, which is the picture and all the data that goes with the picture, but I'm using a web browser. And if I want to edit it, I can now edit it. There's all my editing. This is Adobe Camera Raw. This is the advantage of using the cloud. I've got all my editing down here. Okay, and it syncs it all back to Lightroom Classic. Okay, so this is the advantage of using the cloud. Okay, don't always have to use the cloud because we have this local button now. Okay, this local storage, which is it's now looking like Bridge did, looked at a particular folder. Okay, so here we go, Lightroom training. Okay, so if I click here, there's the image. Okay, if I go to Classic, there's the image, and it's the virtual copy. Okay.
Now, I don't know if this is the right time
Mm-hmm.
to ask the question, but last week I went on a bike ride for the fly-in, for the Oklahoma Will Rogers annual fly-in. I took a nice set of pictures on my phone. I took my
Mm-hmm.
phone because the bike, came back, connected, and I could see it in Lightroom. I could see the images from my phone in Lightroom.
Mm-hmm.
I created an album
Mm-hmm.
and copied the files I wanted to work with to the album.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Lightroom Classic. The album didn't show up in the collections, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't find my phone pictures up in the cloud area. I
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't find them.
Okay.
But then I said, aha, Mark taught me about smart collections.
Mhm.
So I did a smart collection for the date, the day
Mhm.
I did the bike ride. Boom, it all showed up. So
Mhm.
they were somewhere in Lightroom Classic.
Mhm.
I couldn't find them.
Okay, so go to that Smart Collection, find the image in the Smart Collection, just click on it,
Yeah.
then right click, and it will say Show in Library.
I
Okay.
don't think it did that. I think I tried that and it didn't say it. I think I'll try it again, but
Okay.
Uh,
So,
I don't think it did.
okay. So in Classic, you can take any image in a collection. Okay. So let's. I've got no collections here, so let's just go. Select all. Add to collection. Include selected photos. Okay, so this is a collection. The reason why you may have not seen the collection, an album, when it comes from Lightroom, it will be in a collection set called From Lightroom.
Oh.
Okay,
yeah,
so you need to
yeah.
expand the collection set that says From Lightroom, and it will be in there. So the album will
Okay.
sync back to Classic, but you just need to expand the little triangle. Now this is
Okay.
your collection. So we take this image here. Let's jump up there. So now let's go back. So this image here, there it is as a image in the collection. If I go right click, go to folder in library, it will take me to the folder, just press G, where the actual file is stored.
And if it was in the cloud, it would take in the upper above cloud section. It
Yeah,
would take
so-
you to the
so we
cloud
take-
section.
We'll take this image here,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm going to add it to that collection. Okay, so there it is there. So I'm now looking at the image in the collection. You can see it's synced. Can you see the little icon
Yeah.
Yeah.
by the side of it? That image is synced to the cloud. Right click, go to folder in library, and that will jump up, it says. Oh, for some reason it's not jumping up.
Yeah. See that's what happened to me. I was.
There you go.
frust-
Bit slow. It was a bit slow.
It's
Okay.
what?
It was a bit slow.
Oh,
some
slow,
reason.
Slow.
It was slow for
okay.
me, but it's jumped up there. So let's go back
Okay.
there. Let me do it again. There you go. It was just a bit slow for me. Okay.
Now, I
Because I-
think. Yeah. Again. I'm sorry if this.
Yeah.
I think I did the phone connection a couple years ago, and I didn't set up any structure. I just thought
Mhm.
it would automatically go.
Mhm.
So that area, that cloud area, has no structure to it.
Mhm.
I think it's just all photos.
Yeah.
But I do structure my local stuff
Mhm.
by date. So I
Mhm.
do, my folders are by date. So I would really, so I need to really fix the fact that they're just all jumbled together.
Okay. So if you click on the cloud, then the cog,
Yeah.
then click this box here, the second one here, choose your
Yeah.
date format.
Right.
It will ask you, once you press OK and click the X, it'll
Right.
ask you, do you want to move them all? And it'll move them in the cloud.
Okay.
And you'll then get them like this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right?
Yeah, and I can rename the all photos as cloud or something if
Yep.
I want to.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, you
Thank
can
you.
do that.
That's,
Okay.
That's a big help. It was
All right.
extremely frustrating. Yeah.
Well, the reason why it's frustrating, Classic was not designed for the cloud.
Right. No, no.
The
I
art,
felt
the art,
that.
and they've had to, my words, force it to do it. You know, hobbledy gobbledy, bodge it, whatever you want to call it. It does work, but it's not designed to work from the
Right.
ground up. Where Lightroom was designed, that's why Lightroom was CC, Lightroom Web, Lightroom Mobile,
Right.
whatever you wanted
Right.
to call it. It was only a web application.
Right.
It wasn't until October last year you could do things locally.
Right.
It's designed for the web. It's
Uh-huh.
designed for a connected world.
I felt that frustration really intensely,
Mhm.
but your work on the smart collections was my way out because
Yeah.
I only took the phone pictures on that date,
Mhm.
so they all came into the collection. I could then do the web module
Yep.
easily. I created a website in maybe 10 minutes, uploaded it, and I could share it with my friends. So I did accomplish what I wanted to do, but boy, it was only because of your focus on smart collections.
Smart collections, yeah, they're brilliant smart collections.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're going to take a picture with the phone. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen here. You see this works. Normally does. There we go. So you've got 3 tabs across the bottom. You've got device. Those are the images that are in your photos. Okay, so the images that are there. Okay, so that's what device is, bottom left hand corner. The images Lightroom, which is the tab in the middle, that's the images in the cloud, which is the same as your cloud and your local icons in Lightroom. They just call them device. Okay, the community is about sharing images within the Lightroom community's presets, and you can upload for people to comment on them, etc. and so on. But you want to take a photograph. Well, it's quite straightforward. You just press the photograph button, take the picture, boom, like that, and then you come out of it and it'll appear and we'll sync it. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. All photos. There we go. There's the picture I just took. Okay, and that will sync back to Classic. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we get old pictures in? Well, in the Lightroom icon at the bottom, it'll bring us in the all photo mode. It'll bring us this blue pill bottom right hand corner. One is to take a picture and one is to import. We can import from device, files, or connected camera and card. So what does that mean, connected camera and card? Well, we can use things like card readers, or we can plug our camera into our device, which I'll show you that a little bit later. But we'll look at from device, and I can say I'm going to take this image and this video. So I've just clicked on 2, you see they're blue ticked, press add, and they've added it. So this has come from my device to my phone, and it's now syncing to the cloud. Simple as that. Now, if you want to, you can auto import. So, or you can batch import. So you can manually press plus, go to your device and select all your images. That means all your images that are on your phone will now be in the cloud, and they'll come down to Classic. Nice way of bringing all your photos from the cloud to Lightroom Classic. But if you want to auto import, 3 dots right, top right hand corner, app settings, come to import, and you can import photos, screenshots, videos. You can add your copyright data, and there are other settings. And this will, every time you take a photograph with whatever app, so if I now take a photograph with the normal camera, not the iPhone camera, I can now come out, and we'll wait a second, and there we go. It's automatically imported into Lightroom, and it'll automatically sync using the settings that you've got as your native camera. So if it's done as Adobe Camera Raw, or it's done as Apple Pro, ProRes, it will take those settings because you took it with the normal camera. So and then the same if you've got another app. So Pro Camera. This is another camera app. Okay, so I can now vary my exposure, take the picture. I can now view the picture, and I can now send it, if I so wish, to, get rid of that, I can send that to, oops, I won't not do that. Let's do that again. Oh, because I pressed the wrong button. I can now send that to Lightroom. Okay, so we come out of there and they'll appear. There you go, it will start to appear. There they are. Okay, and that's the two pictures I just took. That one I took in the other app, that I took with the normal camera, that one I took with the iPhone camera. So they're all now in Lightroom, they're all syncing. Alright? Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah?
If you turn on sync all your photos, but you've already had photos, will it skip the duplicates automatically?
Okay, so when you go to import them, in the top right hand corner it'll have a little icon, LR. They are already been imported to Lightroom, so you just miss those ones.
Okay, but to go to a classic, to sync with classic, it won't. It'll deal with the duplicates.
No, it will. No, on the auto import, it won't import duplicates because it's got the little LR badge on them.
LR. Okay.
So it's got the little. I'll see if I can find it on the laptop, on the iPad. So let me do on here. So share screen, start. There we go. So here I am. I'm now on my iPad, and there's the pictures and a video. They've all synced. Just wait for it to load. They've all synced. It hasn't yet fully loaded, but they've all synced from my phone to my tablet via the cloud. Okay, so, and I can edit them. Okay, but now let me paint this scenario. I have my camera. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a USB-C cable, plug it into my camera, and I'm going to plug this into the side of the tablet. Could be a phone. And turn my camera on. Takes a few seconds. I'm now just going to go import. So I'm going to hit the blue little icon, little tablet lozenge shape. Press the plus on the left hand side. Camera and connected device. It's found my Z30. It's now scanning. I can see the little light flickering away. There's all the images, and I can see there's 65 images here. But I can just select those images and press import, and it's importing 7 images, and I've now imported 7 images off my camera. That's it, it's done. I successfully imported 7 images. Now at this precise second, the raw files are on my iPad. Okay, let's just come out of here so I can talk to you. Stop. There we go. So at this precise second, those 7 images are still raw files on my iPad. But once they've finished syncing to the cloud, so they've left the iPad and gone up to the cloud, and they're sitting on Adobe's server, they become smart previews on my iPad. The raw file is in the cloud, so it saves storage on your iPad, and now I could go and delete the images off the SD card because the raw files are in the cloud. Okay, so let's see how we're going. There we go. So now to show you, here we go. So these are the images. They're coming in. So if I refresh, this is a web browser. So I'm looking directly into the cloud. There we go. There were 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is the raw file. Okay, in the cloud. On my iPad it will now become a smart preview. There's the video. I'm looking at this as a web browser. Okay. Alright. There's the picture I took very quickly. There's the other ones I took with the app. These are files. These count towards my storage. So if I click on here, I come down to information, it's going to tell me 23.6 megabytes. It's telling me it's 5,568 pixels by 3,712 pixels, 21 megapixel camera. NEF file. It's a raw file. Okay, it's telling me it was imported from the iPad. There's the settings. This is exactly what was on the chip. Okay, that's in the cloud. So I'm on my cruise, I've got internet access, it's reasonably fast, I'm running out of SD cards. I'm taking 1,000 pictures every day. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just going click with my camera, taking loads of pictures, or I'm taking them on my phone and I'm filling up my phone because I only got 128 gigabytes of storage. I've taken loads of videos. Well, for £9, and if you do it for 2 weeks, Adobe will refund back the £9. You can have 1 terabyte of storage. So you can put them all in the cloud. You're backing up your images, the raw files. So if you do drop your camera over the side of the boat or something like that, you haven't lost your photographs. If you have your bag stolen on the train in India, nothing against the Indians, but you know, bags do go missing occasionally, or the airport, you know, the plane loses your bag and your camera's in the bag, you haven't lost your photographs. The insurance buys you a new camera, but they can't replace the pictures. But you've put them into the cloud, so you've got a backup of them. Now when I used to travel, I used to shoot 2 cards and I used to post back 1 card to me in the post. So I had a card with me and I had one in the post, and the post would always get home slowly, but it would get home. I don't need to do that now. I just put them up in the cloud. Okay? So hopefully now, in the time that I've talked all that to you, if I go to here, click on cloud, all this is Lightroom on my desktop. This is how I use Lightroom currently. I'm changing my workflow, but currently on my laptop. I have an old laptop. I'm waiting for the iPad mini to come out with, it's still old technology. I'm still waiting for the new version, which is why I haven't upgraded a lot of my technology recently. This is Lightroom on my iPad, sorry, on my computer, looking at the images in the cloud. So this is exactly the same as this. This is using a web browser. This is using Lightroom. Okay? The difference is how it looks, but I've also got the local, where in the browser version I haven't got local. Okay? Because I'm in a hotel in New York or somewhere like that, I'm away from my computer. Okay? So I can see these are the raw files. Right, so if I go down to information, original NEF file. Okay, telling me at the top here all the details about the file. File size 24 megabytes. It's the raw file. Okay, now it started to sync. There we go, today's date. So there you go, Jay. It's made today's date. Let's put my glasses on. There you go, 14th of the 8th. It's made them, and it's put them automatically in that folder, because they're still syncing, 7 more to come, because I had put it in the cloud folder and put it then into a subfolder of the date of capture. Those two ones here. There's two tick boxes. So it goes into the cloud, goes into this folder. Let's just turn the attributes off. Okay? And there they are. And then all I have to do is when it finishes syncing, and this is the syncing, I just drag the folder and put it local. Okay? Alright?
Yeah.
Yep,
Does that make sense to everybody?
it does, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you, if I click on, let's share screen again. I'm going to get there before. Oops. Okay, so if I click here, click on the cog. Okay, hold the Option key down, and we've got this rebuild and view sync status. If I view sync status, it'll open up a browser and it will show you any syncing issues, and you've got no syncing issues. Okay. Now, syncing activity, it's all finished. There we go. They've brought this back. This disappeared. If you didn't see it, it's probably because that little triangle needs rotating. Okay. I think it's now finished. Now finished syncing now. So let's now import some more images. So I'm going to go back to my iPad. There we go. So now let's share my screen. Okay, so, and here we go. I said I'd show you. See there, darken the top images, Jay?
Yes,
Yeah, so those have been imported. Can you see the top left hand corner of each of those images? Can you see it's got a little LR in the top right hand corner? Yeah?
Lightroom. Yeah,
Yeah, that means it's already been imported. Okay, so I'm going to take.
so all photos is the default folder. It is to all folders.
Yep.
All photos. So that's the default. Yours says cloud, but that says all photos. All photos.
Yes, yeah, because that's cloud is what I've called the location on the drive. It's the folder for the drive. Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
Right.
So this is all photos, but I can add them to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new collection. This is, an album. I'm going to call it J. Okay, and I'm going to select these images here. So I'm going to import those images, but I'm also going to add them to an album. So I'm going to go import. So it's adding 7 more images, but it's going to add them to an album. So all I've done is I've chose add to, and then I've created an album and call it J. Okay, that's it done. There's my album down the bottom called J. There's my 7 images in there. Okay, so we're going to let that sync.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're going to let that sync for a minute. Okay, so share my screen. Go to a browser. Got to refresh the browser. There's my collection or album called J, and the images are coming in.
Right.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the album, and you can. This is my workflow is I've got 2 folders, collection sets. Okay, this is a Lightroom album, so I put it in Lightroom, so I know what it is. Okay, And now I've done this on a different device. It'll just mirror it all. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, so if I now come out of there, I go to Lightroom. Okay, and it's already mirrored it. Look, it's already moved it. And there's 4 of the 7 images. So it was in the top level. I've moved it to Lightroom. Yeah, this is using Lightroom in the desktop. Now, what I wanted to show you, if we get there quick enough, there's the activity because it's expanded. It's downloading the asset. But you can go remove from cloud. This is new. This is in 13.5. You couldn't do this. All you could do before is click on it and it will take you to the location. Okay? This is a file location path, asset path link. It'd either be local if it was upload. If it say upload here, that would be local. There we go, uploading. These are uploading. These are local. So I click on it. It's taken me to this image here. If I click on this one, see there we go, it's already uploaded them. Right? But if I hurry up, downloading assets, I click on there, it will take me to the location. But the new bit is, oops, quick, right click, remove from cloud. And it will now, if that gets sync error, you can go right click, remove from cloud. And that's new in 13.5, literally yesterday, late yesterday. Okay, you couldn't delete. What you would have to do is click on the link, go to the location, delete the file, because it was like a crash on the freeway, motorway. Nobody could get past it because the road was blocked, because there was that syncing error. You had to go and manually delete it. Now you can go right click and remove from the cloud, so it frees up the freeway, the motorway of all your cars. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah? Stuart, is that alright? Yeah? You're okay with nodding for that. Okay? So all of this is working. If you want to say the cloud is another SD card, but you're doing it away from your computer, yeah, and you can preserve the same workflow. The only thing that currently doesn't work, keywording. Keywording is not transmitted because Lightroom does not support hierarchical keywords, so the keywords doesn't come across. Okay, so this is the activity that's currently happening in Classic. Let's go to Classic here, and there we go, it's finished syncing. There's the 20 images. If I come down, now Jay, I said to you, from Lightroom, can you see the collection set?
Yes.
And there is your collection, or album from Lightroom. It's now created that collection, put it in a collection set, or it's called a folder, from Lightroom, and put it there. Then you can just drag and move it wherever you want to move it. And it's the same with, if I wanted to move these, I just drag, and I've now copied them to my local drive out of the cloud.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Now when we get to video, there's one caveat for video. Lightroom supports video. So taking a video with your camera, taking a video with your phone. You can upload from your phone, from your camera, via your phone, via your iPad, via a web browser, and it will come down to Classic. Okay? You cannot send videos from Classic to Lightroom. So it's a one-way. It's a one-way street. You can go from a camera, from your phone, from an iPad, via Lightroom to Classic or a web browser, but you can't go from Classic to Lightroom. So how do you get a video to Lightroom? you'd use your Lightroom as a desktop app, or you use a web browser and you just hit plus, go and find the file and then import it that way. It does not upload like a photograph uploads as a smart preview. It doesn't upload that file. Okay, and that is syncing. Okay, so do you want the golden fix now? Do you want the golden nugget when it all goes wrong?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a hidden functionality. If you hit on the cloud, press the cog, you get this. This is your Lightroom syncing. So you get your menus, how many images, count information. If you hold the Option and the Alt key, these three buttons appear. If you're on a support case, a support chat with Adobe, they want a diagnostic report about the cloud. So you hit that button there, it'll generate a report, it'll give you some files, etc. and so on, and away we go. So I shouldn't have really done that, but there we go, let's cancel it. There we go. So if I go back there, so I'm hitting the Option or the Alt key depending on the operating system. You can view your synced status, so you click there, it'll open a web browser, it will tell you any problems you've got. And this is 13.2 this happened in. Okay. And the real one that you want, there's your catalogue and there is your synced database. What has happened? What is syncing? And that's what's in that report. Rebuild sync database. If you hold your Option or Alt key down, hit that button there, it will generate a report if you wish, or you hit continue. It will close Lightroom, it will reset the database, and it will sync everything back up again. So it's now opened, we've got it's paused in the top right hand corner, so we now go start syncing. It compares everything, and if you've got a bug, 99 times out of 100 that will solve it. If obviously you've got in this, well, the blue lines where the activity status, if it says error, you need to delete it, but that will solve your problems. That is your get out of jail ticket. So cog, Option Alt on your keyboard, rebuild database. That's your sync database. It's nothing to do with the catalogue, it's a different thing. It's a database of all the information, what images are in the cloud, what point are they at syncing, and so on. It clears all the cache, it starts again, it marries everything up, and away you go. Okay, and that is syncing your images. Any questions?
Thank you, Mark, but I must go.
Yeah, no problem. See you later, Dave.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
This is for me. It's extremely important because the workflow of taking pictures has changed so dramatically from when I began.
Yep.
That understanding this is just extremely important for me, for the way I work, because I've shifted a lot to the phone, and therefore syncing it is good. Previously, my problem was I had three Olympus cameras, and they all had the same file naming structure. So I had to figure out and get a program so it could easily bulk rename the filing, so I could know which picture was taken with.
Okay.
Which camera it was taken with. And then Adobe made that easier as they added that into the exec file. But now it's not just different three cameras of the same make.
I'll, if I may, Jay, I'll send you a YouTube link of my file renaming structure, because I had exactly the same problem. I had two D3Ss, two D5s, two 850s, and I worked out a structure that might help you, and I've done a YouTube video. I'll send that to you when I come back. Callum, how can I help?
I use OneDrive extensively to synchronize my documents.
Yep.
My pictures. I'm thinking muddling up my OneDrive and Adobe Cloud is going to be very bad, so I really need to be quite sure I'm not sort of putting stuff together in my pictures and then both systems trying to sync it.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answer, that's the first thing. All I can do is I can give you some advice. You're paying for 20 gigs of current storage if you've got the photography plan. That's probably not enough to store, what's 20 gig going to give you? Maybe 100 or so images depending on your file size. Maybe a few more than that. My philosophy is I'm using the Adobe ecosystem for my photography, videography and all my graphics work. So I put all my assets in the Adobe ecosystem, although I do use Backblaze B2 system for my cloud drive. I've got a cloud drive like an Amazon drive that I can have as much information in there as I want, and that's actually built within Lightroom. If you've got 5 terabytes of storage in Dropbox, then you can just add your Dropbox location you can add your Dropbox location inside Classic and use a folder within your Dropbox, call it LRC images. So you know when you look at Dropbox or a Finder or Explorer, you know you're looking inside of Lightroom. So I call it, let's close that window. I think that's the air ambulance landing. Sorry about that. So in your Dropbox, if you create something called LRC images, for example, you know when you look at Dropbox, that's your LRC images. And therefore you're not spending additional money by increasing your Adobe storage. Yeah? But when you want to send images from Classic to Lightroom, you're going to do that with Smart Preview, so that doesn't work within Dropbox. Yeah, because it's an Adobe facility, it's an Adobe functionality. So the thing that I would ask you is to think about is, why are you using Dropbox? Are you using them for the backup? Are you using them for file management? Interrogate that type of question, because there's other better resources than Dropbox for backing up, a lot cheaper. Menely, somebody that's been with us for a long time, she had 2 terabytes of this, 5 terabytes of that. She was paying like about £700 a year in cloud storage with all these different providers, and it was absolutely quite ridiculous. And we worked it all out what she was doing and put a workflow in place that I think it was something like about £60 a year, and everything was backed up into the cloud, and she had access to those files wherever she was, and it was unlimited storage, no throttling back, and it's where she wanted to go. So identifying a folder structure to put your files in Dropbox, therefore you know what you want, where you want to put it, and adding that folder to Classic. but not seeing the parent folders. You know what parent folders are? So that's the folders above it. So you don't go in at Dropbox, you go in at Lightroom Classic within Dropbox. And then when you drag an image or a folder into Lightroom Classic, it automatically syncs to Dropbox. So it's doing it in the background.
Right.
And you could do that with OneDrive as well. If you've got a Microsoft account, you could. And that's how I used to do it. I've tried lots of different ways to back up my images and so on, etc. And it got very complicated. I had lots of different service providers. I had 1 terabyte with Microsoft. I had 1 terabyte with Adobe. I had this drive. I had that drive. I had Dropbox. And I was paying through the roof. And I slowly worked out a methodical workflow. And now I just use Adobe and I use Backblaze, and that's it. And I have all my files, literally every single file that I have anywhere in the world. I'm just going via a web browser or my laptop, and I can see my images, and it appears in a Finder. The drive, it's the cloud drive in my Finder, just like it does on Dropbox. You have on the left hand side your tree of all your folder structures, so your OneDrive or your Dropbox or so on. I have a Backblaze folder, and for me what was important was unlimited storage, where you only get 1 terabyte. My drives here is 96 terabytes. So
Okay, thanks. I'll give that a go.
yeah, it's sitting down working out a structure for you. But put the Dropbox folder, create a folder LR images within Dropbox, and put that in Classic, and then you just drag and it'll sync them to cloud if you're using it as a backup or you want those files with you wherever you are. Yeah, and then just use the Adobe Cloud for syncing images. And this is what I mean about workflow. Okay. Anyone else got any questions?
You've previously said about letting everything sort of finish. So
Yeah.
if you're putting your photos into Lightroom, but your internet isn't very good where you are, or you don't think it's going to be sort of strong enough to do everything, it's just as simple as pressing the pause button, so you don't want to sync anything till you're back home instead of something else turn off.
So if you're on a ferry, for example, or a cruise, you can turn off your syncing. So you just import them or take them. So use your phone and take them, but turn the syncing off. Literally, just say do not sync. And if you're taking the photographs with your phone, they will stay on your phone in Lightroom. If you're importing them, like I did here into the tablet, they will stay as raw files in the tablet until I sync them. Now, the thing you've got to bear in mind, how much storage have you got on your iPad? If you've only got a 32 gig or a 64 gig or 128 gig, which is why I'm waiting for the mini iPad. I think it's only 256 gig of storage. Well, that's only like a 20-minute, I don't know exactly, but a 20-minute 4K video. I'm waiting for the 1 terabyte version to come out of the iPad mini. So yeah, so you can turn off the syncing, and it'll be the raw footage, the raw files, the raw footage will sit on your iPad until you sync. So if you're on a ferry, on a cruise line, it's not got a brilliant internet connection, or you're roaming or something like that, then just you can import them and just turn it off and wait.
Thank you.
Did you have another question, Callum?
I do.
Yeah.
This is not syncing exactly, but one of my workflows is to copy all the files from the camera to my D drive, and then index the content in Lightroom, and ones I like I then edit in Photoshop. and from Photoshop I save a JPEG to my drive for publication, and I also save a PSD file to the C drive. What I noticed then, as soon as I close Photoshop, is that PSD file is automatically removed from the C drive and moved back to the original folder in the D drive, which clearly Lightroom or some part of the Adobe infrastructure is doing, and I don't really want it. Is there a way to prevent it doing that?
Okay, so I would question your workflow, what you're saying there. The reason why is your JPEG you can always regenerate. So let's
JPEG.
so,
The JPEG doesn't get affected if I do a save, or if I do an export as. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's if I do a save as.
Okay.
File,
so
then that PSD file gets magically moved back to the original source
Yeah,
directory.
there's in external editing. There's a tick box at the bottom, stack with original image. So if you untick that, then it won't do it. Okay. But I do question the way you've described your workflow. So if I may explain what Classic is, what Lightroom is, and what Photoshop is, and this is my point of view. There's no right or wrong answer. Lightroom Classic is a legacy program that I think will be serviced for the next 4 or 5 years, and it's a digital asset management tool. It allows us to manage, edit and share our images. And the reason why I believe Classic is the industry leading piece of software, it's got one functionality that there may be other software that does it nowadays, and that is it allows us to go to third-party applications, and whatever workflow we want in that third-party application, it will support it and bring it back. So Classic is a management tool, it's an editing tool, and it's a sharing tool. And there's lots of permutations around those three modes. Once we've edited, which is what we're looking in the autumn on a Monday night, you can export to Photoshop, as you were saying, or any app that you want to. And within the plugin that's within Classic and the app that you're going to, it will respect how it's handed off to that app and how it wants it handed back, which is what you're talking about. Now Photoshop is an editor, yes, it's Adobe Camera Raw, which is exactly the same in Classic. Classic, the develop module, is Adobe Camera Raw. It's just black rather than grey, and you can change the colour. Okay? Lightroom is Adobe Camera Raw. It's exactly the same as Classic as Photoshop. So if you're just doing a levels and curves adjustment in an image, why take it to Photoshop? Why create another file, change it to a PSD format or a TIFF format, and do a levels and curves adjustment when you can do all that in Classic? Okay? Now if you want to do something more, and this is where my terminology, my interpretation of what Photoshop is, when you look at it fully, it's a manipulation tool. It's not an editing tool, and I'm quite specific in Classic is a digital asset management. Manages our assets, it edits our assets and shares our assets. Okay? It does not manipulate, although that grey line is moving, especially with the new remove tool and the AI in there. And when I say manipulate, the puppet warp tool, I've done workshops, you know, that can move people's arms. Sky replacement tool, you were asking the other week about blurring that background. That's a manipulation. You're totally changing the content. Lightroom is not that, it's an editing tool. So you, in Lightroom, you Classic, you would do your base edits, you export it into Photoshop, you do manipulation, you press save, and it stacks the Photoshop file next to the original file in Lightroom Classic, side by side. Now when you want to create the JPEG, you just export it as a JPEG and you send it to whoever you want to send it to and so on, and you delete that JPEG because you can go back and remake that JPEG any time you want in the future. I've got over 480,000, I've still got about another 10 years worth of negatives and images to import. 480,000 images in my working Classic catalogue. If I kept every one as a JPEG, I'd need 200 terabytes of storage. But because I can regenerate them, just like Doctor Who regenerates, I can remake a JPEG from the original file. I don't need that JPEG. It's only the viewing audience who need that. So I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. It's your workflow and that's personal to you and that's your choice and so on. I just want to explain how I feel and think, and it's an opinion, just like politics, of what these tools are for. And by
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Just my education was begun in Photoshop, so it's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm working my way through. No, is it in focus?
yeah, can't see the title.
The Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom Classic for photography. I didn't Adobe itself, so I'm trying to get a better balance with using the two.
The develop module is Adobe Camera Raw. That's all it is basically. And if you know Adobe Camera Raw, then you know Classic. It just looks slightly different. It's black. It just looks slightly different. That's all it is. And the terminology is designed, and the interface is designed for photographers. It's where Photoshop is designed for illustrators, it's graphic designers, web designers, app designers, and so on.
But as long as I can find a way to stop it taking back the PSD file.
So if you go to preferences, go into alternative external editors, down the bottom it will say stack with, and if you untick that it won't stack it with the original file.
Good, okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, anyone else have other questions? Right, well, I'm buggering off for another 10 days and do some more academic research, and I'll see you early September.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Take care, all the best. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.